welcome back to this channel. Today's going to be a super fun video because today is going to be an informational plant tour, but it's going to be nothing like my other ones. Really, I've been introduced to a lot of things in the last few days, like a composting machine for your kitchen, which sounds amazing. Also, I've been introduced into making my own soil instead of buying Miracle-Gro potting soil. Also, I've been introduced into some very big things for the aquaponic system and turning it into just having it from a normal fish tank, normal aquaponics fish tank, and turning the fish tank into an ecosystem where I don't have to feed the fish every single day. So before we do start today's video, please subscribe, hit the notification on all so you're not missing a video. Please like this video. Let's go and start talking about the greenhouse. Now before I really do start talking about these plants behind me and beside me, I really do want to kind of talk about the composting thing I was talking about a second ago. Now, recently, just the other day ago, I was introduced into making my own soil. Because number one, Miracle-Gro potting soil is ridiculously expensive at the point where I have this type of a setup, this setup that's this big. Potting soil is something that's very important for the greenhouse. So I'm trying to look for great alternatives to hopefully save as much money as possible on the setup, because at the end of the day, saving money on supplies is the best thing for this type of setup. So pretty much I was introduced to kind of a coconut core type of thing. It's more of a like moss type of thing. I don't know the exact word for it, but it's pretty much like coconut core. And then I was also introduced into perlite, which is like these like white bead things, kind of like that. So you can barely see it on my hand, but basically perlite is just doesn't really help mud, but the thing that perlite does help with is the drainage in the soil. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have soil, or if you don't have perlite in the soil, you're gonna have absolutely no drainage. The drainage is gonna be rapidly slow, and it could just really affect your plants. Also, at the end of the day, it would be a lot better to make my own soil. I was also looking at compost. Compost is ridiculously expensive. So if I buy all those three things, I would be able to save a lot of money. It'd be more of a kind of the way I would describe it is buy 2 bags of potting soil, get 1 free. That's pretty much exactly how this idea is. So at the end of the day, it does save a little bit of some money, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really save much. I really do want to kind of cover that topic later on this channel once I do have a lot more to learn about it. But I was checking out composting machines because composting does take an extremely long time to do depending on what you are putting in the compost. So pretty much the compost machine pretty much heats up the stuff, pretty much dries whatever you're putting into it, mushes it up, kind of just chops it up, grinds it up, that's the word, and then that's your soil. No, it is not. The machine is too good to be true. It's pretty much what we call pre-compost. So with me being new to that, I don't really understand kind of what that means, but I was doing a lot of research earlier today, and pretty much it's basically just putting the soil on the stove, heating it up a little bit, and then stirring it around, maybe grabbing like a spatula or something, kind of crushing it up. That's pretty much how it is. It does take an extremely long time to happen, but compost is just pretty much, it just takes time. Pretty much the machine is pretty much speeding up science. It just doesn't really work that way. So I do really want to talk about that later on the channel, but right now I don't have a ton of information on it, so I really want to hear what you guys think. To everyone that's been introduced into the composting machine for your kitchen, what do you guys think of it? To everyone that's really been introduced to it and just absolutely against it, why are you against it? Because at the end of the day, theoretically, isn't pre-compost still compost? That's the part that's getting me a little bit, I do kind of understand that, but at the end of the day, once you actually think about it, it doesn't really make sense. So, I really want to hear from you guys and kind of learn more about that, where I can talk about it a lot more on the channel. So, now, let's go ahead and start this, just talking about all these plants, and then we're going to go over to the other systems, the hydroponics and aquaponics system, and I really want to talk about kind of like the ecosystem I was talking about a second ago. Alright, so pretty much we have oregano. This is actually doing really good, and I really feel like the growth on this is absolutely skyrocketing. I'm very excited about that, and very excited to look forward to working with this a lot more in the future, I do kind of feel like the roots are going to start taking up the pot a lot more, and I'm kind of waiting to see what happens, because I do feel like the last 2 days the growth has kind of slowed down quite significantly. So we'll see what happens. We also have mustard, and yay, the mustard finally started coming out of the soil and is finally starting to germinate rapidly. We also have dill. Dill is going to take a little bit longer to germinate, but I'm keeping a close eye on it. Going down, we ended up using pretty much all of the stuff yesterday. Right now, we only have 3 things: cilantro, basil, and parsley, and the parsley is starting to come up today, which is so exciting. But pretty much, I added a ton of just stuff to that. I really do want to talk about that in a second, and kind of my so far opinions on using those pebble balls. Then going to the very bottom shelf, we have all the strawberries, and the strawberries are starting to rapidly grow now that they're putting off a very, very good root structure. Going down over here, we are germinating a ton of stuff for future projects, and looks like we have a lot more that is starting today. So pretty much the first thing is gonna be, I'm looking at this upside down: cosmos, daisies, poppy seeds, celery, broccoli, and cucumbers. I've worked with none of these in the room before. I want to go into more detail about that, because most of these I have grown in the greenhouse before. Now, usually I like to kind of say, if I have grown it in the greenhouse, I like to say, once the plant has reached its full capabilities. What I mean by that is if the strawberries fully grow to the point where they're that size, I'm gonna say I've grown it in the greenhouse. But if I've germinated it in here and then it's moved outside, I'm not really gonna say it's been grown in here before. So all of the I have grown cosmos. I'm actually growing cosmos at the very top shelf up there. But daisies, I've germinated in here a little bit, but that didn't last very long because all the plants ended up not making it. Then poppy seeds, not much action doing that before. I think I might have germinated a few seeds in here, but that really didn't work. Celery, I've never grown celery before, either outside or in this room. Same with broccoli. I've done a lot of work with cucumbers, but never in this room before. I've always grown it outside every single year. It's always number 3 on my list to make sure it goes outside every year. So, standing back up, I really want to talk about the plants that are up here. These are very exciting because the tomatoes are starting to skyrocket in growth. Now that they are starting to get used to the soil, you can start to see a little bit of some roots popping out there. Not much, but this one does have a few roots starting to pop out at the bottom. You can kind of see a little bit of them starting to peek out. We also have peppermint right here, and then looks like the Seinfeld, we have a lemongrass right here too. So I'm very, very excited for both of these, and they're both starting to grow very successfully. Then, stepping back here, I really want to talk about these. Well, I would say these 3 plants, but two are the same plants. These 3 same plants, I guess. We have sugar peas right here. For some reason, I wrote down pea snaps. I guess depending how you look at it, it is pea snaps. But I'm just going to call it sugar peas because that's what it technically is. These are growing rapidly. I am a little bit nervous on the root structure that's going on in the actual just pot, because they are growing pretty rapidly. Actually, they're overtaking the shelf. So that'll be very interesting. Last year, in 2024, I grew these at the very beginning of when I first built this setup. And I remember these took over everything. It took over the entire shelf. There was one plant that was going all the way down the shelf. It ended up growing down into this bottom shelf, which is really cool. Then over here we have tomatoes. The tomatoes significantly much better than all 3 of the ones we were growing in here. We were growing them in the hydroponic system over there and right here. But those are absolutely thriving. And then going to the very bottom, we have more peas. So, you're probably asking, what is the difference between both of these? It's the way I'm growing it. So, pretty much, these have a lot more soil in it. But the thing is, there's a lot more plants. So, this is more of a bunched up type of design. This is more of a spread out and a lot more just area for the plants to grow. So that'll be very interesting to see which one does the best with growth speed or just how good the plants are. Then over here, we have a lot going on. I think I'm going to get rid of these plants very, very soon, which will be very disappointing. But at the end of the day, getting rid of plants opens up a brand new shelf for another plant to go in and learn a lot more about it. So I really do want to work with lavender a lot more later on. But right now, it's coming up on its last few days. This little plant is not going to make it much longer. Then we also have two different types of flowers. We have Cosmos right here, kind of what I was talking about with those plants over there. And then we have Morning Glories, and the Morning Glories doing pretty good. Looks like we're about to have a yellow leaf start, so that's pretty cool. And then ending this part of the section off with bunching onions, rosemary, and strawberries. Bunching onions, 100% starting to grow. I was really talking about it will take a few days for the plant to start showing growth signs and absolutely thriving once again. And today is the first day I'm actually noticing growth. Just massive amounts of just growth. I'm just gonna say that. They're really starting to go up towards the light. They're starting to look a lot bigger. This one needs a little bit of some work, but pretty much all of the other ones look phenomenal. Then rosemary, absolutely thriving too. Very, very excited about that. I think I'm gonna let them dry out a little bit longer, and then I'll see how that goes. Rosemary doesn't really like water. Obviously, all plants do like water occasionally, but rosemary is one of those plants that's absolutely incredible to have in more of a area where it doesn't rain much. Going to the very bottom of the shelf, this will be the last plant we'll be talking about in this part of the video, but just these are doing really good. Well, they were doing really good till I overwatered them significantly for way too long, but I'm going to start recovering them. They're going to start going through a massive recovering stage, and so far, day one in the recovering stage is looking pretty good. So, I think I covered everything for this section. Let's go over here, and I really want to talk a lot about this setup. Now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the plants really quick, and then I'll talk about the ecosystem thing to kind of be the finale of today's video. So first of all, the hydroponic system's struggling quite a bit. It's kind of hanging on, really just hanging on. I really do feel like the growth has kind of slowed down quite significantly, and it's gonna need a jump start. I'm trying to decide. So here's what I was planning to do. I was hoping to have the entire system originally go aquaponics, but I ended up having one go hydroponics and one go aquaponics so I could do difference. And I really do feel like it's kind of at that point where the difference has happened and I can really talk about that. So I'm still kind of here and there about having the entire thing go aquaponics and just have something huge. So I might look into it, because so far I really do feel like this system has done crazy. So, first of all, the basil, really absolutely thriving. Very, very excited to start working with that in meals. Going over here, the basil, definitely struggling. Growing quite a bit, but looks like the leaves on top have burned up. Well, that is not good, because check that out. The leaves on top, you can see it right there. The plant is slowly starting to die. So, that's not good. You can start to see the roots are starting to turn black at the very end of that. Looks like we got a little bit of some algae forming in there. More like I don't even know how to describe it, but definitely in there. The aquaponics definitely looks a little bit worse, because if I take this plant out, you can look in there and it's like, oh gosh. But it's different looking algae, which is interesting. Then talking about this thing I just started, I'm trying these pebble clay ball things in the system. I will say, so far they look better, because number one, they're blocking light from getting in the system. Number two, a little bit nervous because number one, it took a significantly lot more time to plant these and put them in the system. It took like 3 hours instead of, like, if I put these in the sponges, I could do it maybe 20 minutes for the most. So significantly much longer. But at the end of the day, hopefully they do much better. I haven't really looked at the roots yet. It's been about 24 hours since I did it. And that's another thing. The clay balls make it extremely hard to take the plants out. The roots look okay, but who knows how long that'll last. But looking around, I might just go ahead and do the sponges once again, because at the end of the day, the sponges are a lot easier. And yeah, I do feel like they will cause less problems of what I'm having so far. Then going to the very bottom shelf, we end up having a big day of harvesting a lot of the parsley. You're probably thinking, why do I have the parsley still in the system? If the parsley has already been harvested, I'm asking myself the same question. The only reason why I'm doing that is because the parsley in this part of the system is not ready. And I'm going to try the pebble thing I was just talking about with the parsley too, and see if that's the best method. If it's not, then I'm going to go permanently into sponges. But I really just want to make sure that maybe this idea might work. So the peas absolutely thriving too. Those are doing just absolutely insane, and they're starting to come up and attack the grow lights. Over here we're growing oregano, cucumbers. The cucumbers are actually doing pretty good, so that is quite exciting. The roots look actually really good, so that is just amazing. So then talking about the other plants, we have cherry tomatoes, and then we also have cilantro. The cilantro definitely slowing down, so that is not great. Now that I've talked about all the plants over here, I really want to give a second to start talking about the fish tank. Now, I just really want to talk about, before I do really talk about the system, I really just want to talk about my experience running this type of system for the last month and a half. I really want to say, just this system was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Because, number one, at the end of the day, learning experience is one of the best. It's just significant for, number one, aquatic life and respect for just aquatic life. Number two, it gives a chance for people to learn about just like ecosystems, plants. And seriously, I just want to say, recently I got dogs. I never really had worked with just animals before. Never been a big fan of them. I'm the type of person that when I go outside and I see like a bee or a wasp, I'm the type of person that'll run as fast as I can to get away from it. I really feel like ever since I really built this entire setup, I really feel like my respect for aquatic life and just animals has been so much more stronger. And if you guys really have a chance to have this type of setup, or like just a fish tank, you don't even have to have the plants. Just seriously, the experience of having this type of system is 100% worth it. Even if it does cost a little bit more than you expected, at the end of the day, it is still an amazing experience of learning about this. So, really talking about what I was talking about earlier is I really want to start having more of an ecosystem. Because from the side, you can start to see like a ton of, like I got some snails here and there. There's two snails in here. I don't really know where the other one went. If it's back there by the pump, it might not be living because it's been there for like 4 days. But I've not had a single goldfish not make it in the last few weeks. That goldfish looks amazing, and it's looking just really good. I really do want to eventually go with real plants. That's a number one thing on my list, and I'm considering maybe picking up some stuff later today after I film this video. I really do want to get more stuff that can turn this more into an ecosystem. So kind of that, just to the point where the fish don't have to rely on me to feed them every day. Because number one, they can't really eat on the plants. They can't really, like, all of that fun stuff. So I want to get more snails. I want to get maybe some shrimp. I do feel like shrimp would be really cool. I want to get some other, like, I really want to go to the store, see what they have, and I might pick up some later stuff. If I do, that video will be separate. It'll come out a few hours after this video does. But just so far, this system's been so amazing, and I'm really excited to start working with this a lot more. And I do feel like it is about time for the system to hit the next part and just significantly start to thrive once again. So, something I really do want to do soon is I really need to get like some black tape and kind of go throughout the hoses and like check out that. There's a lot of pretty gross stuff in it, so I really need to go through it and try to cover it up so light doesn't get in there anymore. So, I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this entire setup. If you guys think I'm doing something wrong, or like kind of was saying earlier, if you guys have any advice on like the compost type of thing, I'd really love to hear what you guys have to recommend. Or if you guys have some other things that you have tried and it works really good for like saving money on soil, making your own soil, I'd really love to hear what you guys are doing, because at the end of the day, whatever to do to save money is the best, but at the end of the day, it needs to be high quality soil where the plants can thrive and just thrive with. So, this is going to be the end of the video. If you guys like these types of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you do not miss our video, and please like this video. I just really want to give a second to thank you all for watching today's video and supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow when we post next. Peace.